Okay, I'm here in Florida. I ran into two guys, John and Nathan, and they're telling me an interesting story that I heard a little bit. They've been researching it, so I'm excited and they're willing to tell us about it. So first off, tell me your full names, and then also you got a YouTube channel.
Right.
Tell me that so that people can see that.
So I'm Nathan King, this is John Galay, and we started AU Expeditions, and it's just a group that goes out and explores off the beaten path places. And a lot of times it's historical is what we're mainly interested in. So
right up my alley. I'm liking you guys.
Right. A few years ago, we got interested in a project, something called the Chautauqua Wall, something out of Bradley County, Tennessee, that everyone's been interested in, and they thought it was a legend because it's been missing for over 100 years. But anyways, we got interested, started researching it, we're able to find it in the fall of 2018. But it's the story goes, Mr. J.H. Hooper went out on his property one day and found what he believed to be a grave or a headstone, and he started digging down to look and see if he could find a name. And the more he dug down, he was finding strange symbols on this rock. So it intrigued him even more, and he started digging down, and he found what looked like a wall that ended up stretching this whole ridge line out by the Hiwassee River. And this wall had, once again, more inscriptions on it that he thought was strange. So he ended up calling Professor A.L. Rawson, over to look at the wall. And A.L. Rawson, very intrigued by it, ended up starting a whole excavation process. And he got linguists in there, paid him $30,000 in the early 1900s, and they deciphered it to be early Paleo-Hebrew Sanskrit. And so, you know, it was the buzz of the world at the time. If you look at old newspaper articles, people around the world were coming to see this wall. And shortly after, I think within 3 years, Mr. A.L. Rawson passed away. Excavations stopped. Mr. J.H. Hooper, being excited about it, ended up sending part of the wall to the Smithsonian, who within a few weeks discredited it, saying it was just worms going through the rocks, and sent it back. So it kind of turned into a disappointing thing. People, you know, back then they believed the Smithsonian and everything they did. But A.L. Rawson ended up passing away within a few years of the excavation, and people were taking pieces of the wall home. So J.H. Hooper ended up covering it back, and it ended up becoming kind of a legend there in the Bradley County, Tennessee, that region, and was forgotten. And it was I guess when we started looking into it, people acted like it was a myth, and no, it's not out there. But
we had to look into the historical public library in Cleveland.
Yeah, we started there, and within 3 years of searching, you know, researching and going out and looking for it, we finally came across it with the lead of a lady. And she told us she remembered her dad going out at the ridge and where they'd have a picnic at the wall and all that, and was able to point us to the ridge she believed it was at. And so with the word of mouth and the research, we were able to go up and stumble across it.
So let me ask you, though, before that, people were telling you that it didn't exist.
Oh, yeah.
It was sensationalized newspaper
it was a legend.
article. It was a legend. It wasn't real.
Mm-hmm.
But you persisted. You kept on tracking it down.
That's
and
right.
you found it was real.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I like you guys.
Well, thank you.
The actual rock that was basically the inscriptions were written on, that actual sedimentary was not indigenous in that area. So that's an interesting fact.
Yeah, that was true. It was red sandstone, which wasn't
not
in the area. So, but yeah, it was pretty remarkable. I mean, it runs 1,000 feet on this ridge line. Most of it's still buried, but only the north end has the inscriptions on the wall. The one thing that excited us even more than that was only a few miles from there on Mr. Greg Vital's property. They've recently had archaeologists out there finding ceremonial cairns And well, of course, the Trail of Tears goes along there too, but and then just a mile from that is my other friend's property, and they've been finding ceremonial cairns out there as well. And so we think whoever's doing that or did that were the ones that built the wall. And I don't know if it was the Uchis or the Cherokee or possibly
or somebody ancient.
Yeah, somebody ancient. Yeah, and that's kind of what we lean to, because the ceremonial cairns were dated as prehistoric. So we think it was definitely a group before probably the Uchi or the Cherokee. That's what we personally believe. I mean, in ourselves.
Well, somebody to spend the time to build that wall, and then it's covered up too. That's got to be old. It's
Oh, absolutely, yeah. It's and you know, I think it was Puerto Rico. Just recently, they found where Paleo Hebrew writing there too, and it makes you wonder if, I don't know if maybe it was a lost tribe came over this way, or maybe the Egyptians were using them as slaves over here at one point. But there was definitely indications that they were here, or you know, I don't have all the puzzle pieces together, but there's something there, you know, with the Hebrew being here at one point, you know. So
cool. So you guys are going to be putting together a full-blown video on this and have it on your YouTube channel. So, man,
yeah, when
that's available, we want to see it. But where are we going to see it at?
It'll be
United Expeditions.
It'll be AU Expeditions. So, yeah.
Man, I'm glad I run into you guys, and thank you for following up on that lead and tracking it down and letting us know.
Yeah, we'll keep you posted, Terry, and if you ever want to go out and see it, we can make that happen. So, yeah.
Hey, and that's a wrap, guys.